Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this bridal bouquet. These are the flowers that I'll be using to make this bouquet. I'm going to start by creating a base of eucalyptus, and this will be kind of the foundation of my bouquet. The primary variety of eucalyptus that I'm using is baby blue bouquet eucalyptus, and you can see it has some nice branching and a beautiful bluish tinge to the color. Each of the stems of eucalyptus has kind of its own bend naturally from the way it was growing, and so I do try to work with this as much as possible and then encourage it in the direction I want as needed. I'm going to keep adding stems till I kind of get the overall fullness and shape that I'm looking for in the finished bouquet. In order to add some variety and texture, I'm going to add one stem of this lemon bush eucalyptus as well. This has a longer, thin bladed leaf. And then I'll also add a flower. Since the lemon bush eucalyptus stem is kind of going one direction, I'm going to complement with that with a stem of a filler flower going in the opposite direction. Now I'm going to start adding in my dahlias. I like to work with one color at a time so I can kind of scatter that color around the bouquet and make sure that I don't end up with it all heavily loaded to one side. Sometimes I kind of weave those stems in among the existing stems to get the flower to stay put where I would like it. Now I'm switching to another complementary colored dahlia. So you can see I'll work kind of back through the arrangement, adding in complementary colors to kind of space in and add some visual interest and variety in the overall colors of the arrangement. And then I can start adding in some zinnias, which just gives some variety in shapes and another little bit of variety in color as well. I also like to work in just a few more filler flowers kind of in the front to give the bouquet a little bit more interest in the very front. And then I'm adding a little bit of white for just some pops of white scattered throughout as well. White ties in really nicely for weddings because it ties in with the wedding dress and a lot of the other white colors that are in a wedding. Plus, white, I just like the contrast of white against other flowers. I think the white pops so nicely. These smaller dahlias add some more visual interest because they're of a different size and shape than some of the larger white dahlias and even some of the larger orange dahlias. And this all contributes to the overall visual interest of the finished bouquet. As I approach the end of arranging, I like to really look at what I'm doing and kind of step back, if you will, a little bit from the bouquet to kind of see, okay, where do I see some holes? Where could I add a little bit more color, a little bit more contrast to kind of achieve the overall look I'm going for? And this is also a great point to adjust any flowers if needed, putting them at slightly different heights, slightly different positions to end up with a finished product that you're happy with. Now I'm going to add just a few ferns to the front to kind of bring that greenery forward, but in a very soft way. Again, each of these ferns kind of has its own natural bend, and I'm going to kind of look at that as I select them to make sure they bend in the way that I want in the finished arrangement. Now I'm going to cut all of the stems to a nice even length. I can go back and refine later, but it helps to just get them more or less the same length before I start wrapping the bouquet ends. I do like to put rubber bands on first because this will hold all of the stems together more securely, and then you can still wrap the ribbon over top of these rubber bands. Is a good point when you can go back and refine any stems that don't quite end at the same point as the others. I can now kind of just fuss with the flowers a little bit, adjust them as needed to get them laying perfectly in the right position. I'm going to tuck the end of the ribbon down under the rubber bands. This kind of holds it in place, and then just wrap around. When I get to the end, I will simply tuck the cut end under one of the previous wrappings. And here is the finished bouquet. I hope this video has inspired you to try making your own bouquets at home.